KTM is renowned for making highly dirt-capable adventure bikes, and over the years I've spent a fair amount of time on them having some cracking adventures. When the KTM1090 Adventure R replaced the 990, we tested the bike and found it to be a huge improvement in so many ways. Fast forward to 2017 and KTM Australia have asked me to test the KTM1090 Adventure R. What they say is a more dirt-oriented bike than the KTM 1190. And that's where I made my first mistake, and I'm confident many of you will follow in my footsteps. My first look at the bike had me thinking it's just a smaller version of the 1190.
Hey Rob, how you going? Here's a 1090 adventure bike for you to enjoy for a couple of days.
Rob spent some considerable time with me explaining the features and benefits of the new bike. And normally I'd show you the interview now, but I'm going to keep his comments to the end of the review to see how they equate with my experience. My focus will be to look at the bike through the eyes of a dirt-oriented adventurer who likes a challenge or two. The bike will carry panniers, tank bag and dry bag with all the gear I need to go on a multi-week adventure. We're heading to Australia's Victorian High Country, a place renowned for steep hill climbs, challenging descents and slippery rocky river crossings. Some of the tracks really are the realm of dirt bikes. As we headed down the Barrier Way, the first thing that struck me was how noticeably lighter the 1090 felt in comparison to the 1190. It seemed like it was 20 or possibly more kilograms lighter than the 1190, and with that came a much more agile feel to the bike. It was very responsive to rider input. I also noticed the suspension was very effective in soaking up the minor imperfections of the road surface. Into the rough stuff, and the suspension upgrades immediately became obvious. The first few inches of travel soaked up the smaller imperfections to make for a sure-footed, smooth and pleasurable ride, while in the last few inches of travel the resistance to bottoming dramatically increased. I was quickly left in no doubt the suspension was an outstanding feature of this bike that will leave the competitors in its wake. Into the first reasonable hill descent, and I was on the front brakes compressing the front suspension. The forks coped beautifully under pressure and didn't fall through the stroke and maintained great trail feel. The dual front Brembo brakes were powerful and I activated them with one finger. The combination of lighter weight, excellent dirt-oriented suspension and great wide and long foot pegs gave me the confidence to think of the 1090 as a big dirt bike. A challenge ahead gave me the opportunity to test the bike's crash bars, which come standard with the bike. I'm going to maintain that if Mal wasn't in the way, I would have been fine. But these moments are what adventure riding is about, stretching yourself and giving it a go. The crash bars gave excellent protection. As you would expect, Fleet was there to film all the action.
Kaboom! Kaboom!
The V-twin engine design has always been a great performer. In many of these snotty hills I was using second gear. It's a very tractable engine with a subtle off-the-bottom power. I've since found out it has a heavier crank than the 1190, and I'm sure this goes part way in explaining this engine's unique characteristics. In slippery river crossings, this subtlety of power delivery combined with the excellent suspension gave me the feeling of sure-footedness and confidence. After a solid day's ride, time to head to the petrol station to work out this bike's fuel economy. A big twin, 13.4 litres for 218 k's, which is not bad. I don't think we get that out of a 990, and I certainly don't think we get out of an 1190. For a day spent off-road, taking on steep hill climbs, descents and the odd river crossing, fuel economy came in at 6.3 litres per 100 kilometres. The bike comes with a 23 litre tank, so its fuel range is about 360 k's in the rough stuff, and no doubt a lot further on easier trails. This is Huffy's going to take it for a little part of the KTM family. Let's see what he thinks. Probably take off on one wheel, shower us and shit. Should be an off-road, no ABS, I think. Huffy is an experienced lead rider for KTM adventures and dirt rides. First impressions, mate, what do you reckon?
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, very agile. Yeah, no, it just feels very, very manoeuvrable for a big adventure bike.
It's a difference, isn't it, from the 11?
Oh, definitely from the 1190. Yeah, no, brilliant thing. Plenty of mumbo jumbo. Goes along well.
Yeah, we saw the wheelie across the bridge, so it's got enough grunt.
Yeah, no, plenty of grunt. No, the agility of it is just amazing, really. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the word, agility, isn't it? It's so much different. Day 2 with the KTM1090 Adventure. Mel's taken us through a truckload of river crossings, so the bike's looking clean again. It looks like it's been in a car wash. First thing that struck me today is the wide foot pegs, and we've been standing on the pegs now for 2 days, with the slippery muddy conditions yesterday and the wet and cold, and today it's Mel's weather. He's put it on again for us. Bloody brilliant day. Those big foot pegs, they're worth $1 million. I spent the majority of the ride in off-road mode, which limits the bike to 100 horsepower and an ABS setting that allows you to lock the rear but prevents the front wheel locking up. The off-road setting also allows the back wheel to brake out on acceleration, and was just brilliant, and was another strength of the bike that made off-road riding very enjoyable. For those that want to chill out and just lay back and take in the scenery, this bike is also for you. I've talked about its outstanding agility, but equally the bike's versatility is right up there. The smoothness of the engine, comfortable seat and great ergos sitting or standing make for effortless long distance touring on the road or on open trails. So let's go back to KTM headquarters in Western Sydney and listen to Rob Twirald talk about the features and benefits of the 2017 KTM 1090 Adventure R.
Welcome to the 1090R Adventure bike. The highlights of this bike for this year really are the lower weight. So compared to an 1190 or 1290, it's actually only 10 kilos physically lighter, but it feels triple that when you ride it. It has the lower reciprocating and rotating mass in the motor. The orange frame really stands out. That's a highlight. Standard with the crash bars, big improvements to the suspension. The overall look of the bike looks really sharp. Comes standard with the TKC 80 tyres. So some really nice features on this 1090R. All new suspension components for 2017, so a PDS rear shock absorber featuring 2 pistons, all new stronger fork springs up from 5.5 to 6.5 Newton metre. Really aimed at getting this bike off-road, and we think it's going to be a fantastic model for 2017. So just working through the features and benefits of the new bike. One thing that really stands out straight away is the orange frame. The orange frame dictates that it's an R model, an off-road style R model, standard with the orange crash bar. New PDS 2 rear shock absorber, so featuring 2 pistons. The centre of gravity on this bike is very low and will feel quite a lot lighter than your 1190 or 1290, so the reciprocating and rotating mass is smaller. All new fork springs and fork dampening settings for 2017. Standard with the hand guards. Some options, really nice options for 2017 power parts. So we have the Kropovich exhaust system with the carbon covers. On this bike also we have the optional rally peg, so they're a longer rally peg, which is a really nice feature, very nice on your feet for those long distance rides. TKC 80 tyres fitted standard, so really an off-road adventure bike. So all new for 2017, really the big upgrade on the R models is the suspension. The rear shock is an all-new shock absorber featuring 2 pistons. And the idea of that is the second piston comes into play when you get deep into the travel. So there's a cup in the bottom of the shock and the second piston enters that cup, offering more resistance. So much better bottoming resistance. Not to say that you won't bottom the suspension out, but you will do it in a much more controlled manner and feel so much safer on the bike. Some really nice upgrades on the fork as well. So we're up a spring rate, so 5.5 to 6.5 for 17. And again, they also worked on what they call the hydro stop in the suspension. So the hydro stop is longer and sealed. And again, that's where the spring guide enters a cup and it has to move the oil deep in the travel. Again, really improving that bottoming resistance on the fork. The fork is also fully adjustable. And the really nice feature of the fork is that the compression is on the left fork, rebound on the right, designated by the R, red, so rebound, red, right. So we can do it from the top of the fork and also preload adjusters on the top of the fork. So really, really nice access. So the 1090R has retained the tried and true and tested dash assembly from the previous 1190 and the switch cluster, which offers all those adjustments, very easy from the left-hand side, traction control, ride modes, off-road mode, the ability to change the ABS settings in a really nice switch that's easy to navigate around. Retail price is $19,955 plus on-road, so a really great price for 2017.
After 4 days and 800 kilometres of dirt trails on the KTM1090 Adventure R, I was reluctant to hand the bike back. Finally, someone has come along and delivered a highly dirt-oriented big adventure bike capable of taking you anywhere. This bike has got it all. Big fuel range, tractable engine for the rough stuff with the mumbo to knock over those big tar miles. Comfortable ergos in both the sitting and standing positions, but the outstanding feature by far is the suspension. It's a class leader in the off-road environment. Nothing comes near it.